Lauren Fagen was just 18 years old when she traveled from her home in Canada to volunteer at a wildlife rehabilitation center in South Africa, a decision driven by her deep love for animals and a desire to make a difference in their lives. She had always been drawn to wildlife and conservation work, and the opportunity to contribute at the Multiverse Wildlife Rehabilitation Center seemed like the perfect way to gain experience and fulfill a lifelong dream. Nestled near Kruger National Park, the center was home to a variety of rescued and rehabilitated animals, including lions, leopards, hyenas, and other predators. It was a sanctuary for animals that couldn't return to the wild, and also a place of education and hands-on involvement for volunteers. Lauren was enthusiastic, determined, and eager to help. She had no reason to believe that what began as a dream trip would become a near-fatal ordeal that would make international headlines. On the morning of the attack, Lauren began her day like any other, checking on the animals, assisting the staff with cleaning, feeding, and monitoring behaviors. Among the animals at the center were 2 young lions, each in separate enclosures, but often interacting through the fences. These lions were hand-raised and familiar with human contact, which sometimes gave volunteers a false sense of security. Lauren, like others, had occasionally interacted with them through the fence while following the center's guidelines. But on that particular day, something went terribly wrong. While she was near one of the lion enclosures, Lauren noticed what she believed was a piece of meat or debris that had fallen close to the inner fence. Without thinking twice, she reached her hand through the secondary barrier to retrieve it. In a flash, one of the lions lunged toward her, its powerful jaw clamping down on her arm. Before she could react or pull away, the lion pulled her through the small opening, dragging her partially into the enclosure. What followed was a brutal and relentless attack that lasted for several minutes but felt like an eternity. The lion clawed and bit at her body, tearing flesh and fracturing bones. Lauren screamed in agony, struggling to protect her face and neck. Her arm was shredded, her legs were punctured. The lion's claws slashed through her back and shoulders. She was helpless in the grasp of one of nature's most efficient predators. Volunteers and staff rushed to the scene as soon as they heard the commotion. Armed with sticks and shouting commands, they managed to distract the lion, long enough to pull Lauren out of the enclosure. She was covered in blood, her clothing ripped apart, and her body mangled by the sheer force of the attack. Emergency responders arrived quickly and transported her to a local hospital, where doctors were initially uncertain about whether she would survive. Her injuries were extensive: deep lacerations, exposed muscle, nerve damage, and massive blood loss. In the days that followed, Lauren underwent multiple surgeries to repair the damage, including extensive work on her arm and leg. Skin grafts, muscle reconstruction, and intense pain management became her daily reality. Despite the trauma, Lauren remained mentally strong. She was determined not to let the attack define her, and she refused to place blame on the animal. In interviews conducted during her recovery, she repeatedly emphasized her love for animals and acknowledged that it was her own mistake that led to the attack. She expressed empathy for the lion, understanding that it was acting on instinct rather than malice. Her outlook drew admiration from many who followed her story. Lauren's experience sparked international debate about the safety protocols at wildlife centers, especially those that rely on international volunteers with limited experience around dangerous animals. Critics questioned whether young volunteers should be allowed to interact with apex predators at all, while others argued that incidents like these were rare and unfortunate exceptions. The Multiverse Center, for its part, conducted a thorough internal investigation and reassessed its safety measures. It reinforced fencing protocols, retrained staff and volunteers, and emphasized the importance of never underestimating the strength and unpredictability of wild animals, even those raised in captivity. Lauren's story became a cautionary tale and a symbol of resilience. She continued to speak openly about the importance of wildlife conservation, encouraging others not to let fear prevent them from pursuing their passions. Her bravery and forgiveness touched people around the world, and her recovery became a story of courage and commitment. Over the months that followed, Lauren returned home to Canada to recover. Her scars were permanent, but her spirit remained intact. Physical therapy became a part of her routine as she relearned how to walk without limping and how to use her arm with increasing dexterity. The physical pain was matched by emotional healing. She suffered from nightmares, flashbacks, and the psychological toll of post-traumatic stress. But with the support of family, friends, and therapists, she rebuilt her confidence and her life. Lauren went on to pursue studies in animal science and psychology, channeling her experience into advocacy for ethical wildlife interaction and sanctuary safety standards. Her experience granted her a platform, one she used not for fame or sympathy, but for education and progress. She began speaking at schools and events, reminding people that wild animals are not pets and that compassion must be balanced with caution. One of her most poignant messages was this: even in the face of trauma, it's possible to remain kind, hopeful, and focused on a greater good. She never sued the center, never demanded retribution, and never allowed bitterness to guide her recovery. Instead, she shared her journey to raise awareness about wildlife, empathy, and responsible volunteering. The attack she endured was horrific, but it did not define her. What defined her was the choice she made in the aftermath: to become a voice for compassion, healing, and the dignity of all living creatures. Lauren Fagen's story is a stark reminder of the power of wild animals and the fragility of human life when that power is underestimated. But it's also a reminder of human strength, the kind of inner force that carries someone from the edge of death back to life with grace, determination, and hope. If you were moved by Lauren's incredible story, please take a moment to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Lore of the Multiverse for more unforgettable true stories of survival and the will to overcome the impossible.